Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel today. Guys, I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on fishing culverts. As you saw in the thumbnail of this video, a culvert is any type of a pipe that comes through the water that discharges water into the lake. These are bass magnets, guys. They are excellent places to fish. Now I'm going to give you guys some good tips and advice on the techniques and how you want to approach it here in today's episode here. Also, guys, before we get started, a quick reminder that Solarbat has got their big 250th anniversary sale going on, guys. The biggest sale of the year, 50% off on my Signature Series RB2 and RB3 series glasses. You can get them at half price. Use the promo code RandyB for free shipping and handling, and I'll put the Solarbat link in the description of this video if you guys would like to get one there. And also, guys, one quick plug here. If you guys have not tried this Baitpop, guys, give this a try. It is definitely has made a difference in my fishing this past 6 months or so. It's got real fish in it, amino acids, stays on your bait a long time. You just put a little dab just on your finger like that, rub it into your bait. Comes in different colors, different type of glitters on there. But I just put it on, like I said, on all any soft plastic lure that I have, just rub it on like that. And I have noticed a noticeable increase in my strike since I've been using it. So I'll have the Baitpop link in the description of this video through my Tackle Warehouse link also. Okay guys, let's have a discussion here about culverts. Culverts are bass magnets. Anywhere that you fish them, they are. And they're pretty much widespread. I mean, I really don't know of any lake I've ever been to that didn't have a few culverts in it. Some of them more than others, but they're not all created equal in terms of, you know, how good they are, how not good they are. A lot of it has to do with a couple different things. It has to do with how much water's coming out of them. It has to do with how deep the water is right, you know, outside of the culvert and how it's positioned overall in the lake. So it's just like a point or something. It's like some culverts are going to be more productive than others. The best culverts are the ones that are more active than others. In other words, a little bit larger culverts that carry more water, because a lot of times there's more of a flow coming through them. And usually those bigger culverts are dumping into an area of the lake that has a little bit deeper water on it. So regardless, guys, and one thing you got to remember about culverts, don't get real hung up on the water coming out of them, because I've caught a lot of bass on culverts when there's no water coming out of them. So, you know, when water's coming out of them and there's a lot of current associated with that, yeah, it's usually always better, but bass live around those things. In my opinion, bass take up residence around those culverts, and they just live around there. Because you got to think about it, it's like if you have a culvert, it's fairly active, you know, like when you get runoff or whatever coming in the lake, it brings a lot of life into that area. It has current flow, there's probably bait fish in there, there's probably, you know, perch coming in there. Anytime that you have current anywhere on a lake that does not have, you know, significant current within itself, it's always going to produce bass. So you can't ever overlook them. If you see a culvert, guys, it doesn't matter if there's water coming out of it or not, you still need to fish it, because I've caught them around both of it. Okay, now a couple of different things as far as, you know, how you want to fish these things. A lot of it, again, has to do with the time of the year, but here's some of the top techniques that I've ever used with it. Most of the culverts that I have caught a lot of fish on, the best ones are when the water visibility is like 1 to 3 foot. Now, I've caught them at a cleaner and dirtier too, but 1 to 3 feet is a good depth range with it. And the first thing that I want to do with it is I want to see if there's any active fish around the culvert. So a crankbait is going to be my first choice. I'm going to try to position my lure where I can come across the face of that culvert with a crankbait. You know, just depends how deep it is, but some type of a smaller, shallower to medium running crankbait. That's going to be sort of my first cast with it. Sometimes a spinnerbait too. They'll bite a spinnerbait a lot of times. Another thing with it is if you've got an area where it's really pushing out a lot of water, say for example the culvert is active and you notice the water's boiling up a little bit, like 10 or 20 foot out away from the culvert, a lipless crankbait like a rattle trap, I've caught a lot on that. But those are my first choices. They may or may not be productive, but the most productive lure that you're going to have for any type of a culvert is going to be some type of a bottom lure. It could be a jig, it could be a Texas rig worm, it could be a shaky head, it could be a Ned rig, anything like that. A lot of the times the culvert is up above the bottom of the water there, So if you've got a lot of current coming through there, a lot of times those fish will be on the bottom, sort of out of that current. The current's right above their head. So I've caught a ton of fish, you know, around culverts on baits like that. Probably the two most productive lures I have ever used on a culvert is a shaky head or finesse jig. Those are the two that I've caught a bunch of fish on with it. Another thing about culvert that's really important, guys, is they replenish themselves all day long. So if you pull up and catch one off of a culvert, you always want to hit it several times throughout the day, because those fish on those culverts will move up and down the bank those culverts are on, as well as setting up in position and around them, and they always reload themselves. That's the great thing about culverts, is they reload. Another thing about culverts is a lot of them are on riprap banks. If you notice a lot of the culverts, or a lot of the lakes that have a lot of culverts on it, are on riprap stretches. This is one of my favorite scenarios, because I love fishing riprap banks, and culvert is like a high percentage area within a riprap bank. So if I'm fishing a riprap bank, I may not specifically be hitting the culverts. I'm going to hit it when I come to one, but anytime that you have a series of culverts on a stretch of riprap, it is a very productive riprap most of the time. The fish love to be on ripraps where there's culverts on it for the most part. So it's one of those things when you're talking about fishing culverts, or you can call them culverts or pipes or whatever, but it's sort of like obvious bass structure. It's sort of like riprap. You know, riprap is a very obvious structure to fish. Points are very obvious structures to fish, and culverts are very obvious. But here's the thing about it. The reason they are so good, and the reason they're obvious, and the reason they get a lot of fishing pressure, is they hold a lot of fish. Riprap banks hold a lot of fish. Culverts hold a lot of fish. Points hold a lot of fish. The key on catching bass in these, it's timing. You have to be there at the right place with the right time with the right lure. And like anything else, so much of it has to do with lure selection, casting angles, lure color, speed to retrieve, because somebody may pull up there and fish a culvert with something and not get a bite and not think there's any fish there. Somebody else will come up 20 minutes later with a different technique and catch a couple of them. So that's just sort of a given that, you know, you're going to have to figure out the best technique and lure for that. But don't pass them up, man. The point of the video, guys, if you see one, take 5 minutes to fish it. It's a really good place to catch fish. So hope it helps out.